Good morning. My name's Mr. Ledger. The reason you're here, the reason you've been granted access to this briefing, is because you're looking for something most people miss. You want to understand what's happening beneath the surface. So today, we're going to open the file on the 6 signs of the secretly wealthy. I advise you to pay very close attention.
Before we go any farther, you have to grasp this one core principle. Everything you've been taught to look for, the flashy cars, the designer labels, all that noise, it's misdirection. It's a performance. True financial power, real wealth, it operates in silence.
All right, the dossier is open. It's time to decode the subtle, almost invisible language of those who have significant but hidden capital. Let's begin.
So, Section 1, the silence of wealth. Look, our analysis points to a really fundamental shift in how wealth operates. The old markers, the things you can easily spot and photograph, they're becoming irrelevant. The real indicators now are psychological. They're attributes you have to learn to observe, not just see.
And that's the crucial point right there. The signs aren't found in a catalog of luxury goods. They're hidden in the invisible architecture of someone's habits and behavior. We're not looking for things, we're looking for a mindset, a certain kind of discipline. Financial experts will tell you this all day long. High net worth individuals are defined by how they think, not what they buy. Their entire fortune is built on this invisible foundation of carefully constructed habits.
Okay, let's get into Section 2, the habits of restraint. So where do we start? Well, we'll begin with the indicators that are, believe it or not, the most visible on the outside if you know what you're looking for. And the key isn't in what they do, it's in what they deliberately don't do. It's all about restraint.
Take a look at this. It really breaks down the two opposing mindsets perfectly. On one side, you've got public performance. This is all about broadcasting success, flashy logos, the latest trends, status symbols everywhere. Frankly, it's loud, it's expensive, and it's rooted in insecurity. But then, on the other side, you have the private treasury. This is a totally different way of thinking. It's about timeless quality, things that are built to last, and a quiet confidence that needs zero validation from anyone else.
So, what is the first sign? This very distinction we're talking about, it leads us right to it. It might even seem a little counterintuitive at first. So what's the number one behavior of someone who operates with that private treasury mindset?
Sign number 1, they actively avoid obvious luxury. Now let's be clear, this isn't about being cheap or frugal, it's about being intelligent. Think about it. A $10,000 watch tells the exact same time as a $100 one. The secretly wealthy get this on a fundamental level. They choose things based on their utility, their quality, their longevity, not the brand name slapped on the front. Their car gets them from A to B reliably. It doesn't need to scream, "I'm rich." They simply refuse to pay the hidden status tax that comes with showing off.
And that brings us right to sign number 2. They operate from a psychology of long-term security. Every single financial decision they make is like a chess move in a very, very long game. So when they're thinking about a big purchase, the question isn't, can I afford this? No. The real question is, how does this affect my security 5, 10, 20 years from now? It's like they're building a financial fortress, brick by brick, and they will never ever compromise the integrity of those walls for a moment of fleeting pleasure.
Now, all these habits we're talking about, they're not random. They come together to form the blueprint for their entire financial life. Which leads us to Section 3, the architecture of strategy. We're moving from daily habits to the very foundation of how their wealth is structured.
So, if they're not spending all their time and energy chasing flashy assets to show off, where do they place their focus? What's the real prime directive of their financial strategy?
And the answer is sign number 3. Their focus is on preservation, not performance. Think about that for a second. While almost everyone else is out there chasing performance, those high-risk, high-return gambles, the secretly wealthy are obsessed with one thing above all else: not losing the money they already have. See, making money, that's one challenge, but keeping it, that is a completely different art form. And let's be really clear what we mean by wealth preservation. It's a defensive financial strategy. It's all about playing defense. It's about managing risk, making decisions based on cold, hard reason, and protecting your capital over the long haul. This is the absolute bedrock of real, lasting generational wealth. And let's be honest, it's patient, it's disciplined, and it's not glamorous at all. But it is incredibly powerful.
And that defensive mindset, it doesn't just stop with their investment portfolio. It extends to their entire life. Which brings us to sign number 4. They treat their privacy as their most valuable asset. For them, privacy isn't just a nice-to-have, it's not a preference. It is their single most important asset. It's a shield against lawsuits, against unwanted attention, against the envy and complications that fame and obvious wealth bring. They understand a simple equation. Financial secrecy equals personal security.
Okay, Section 4, the psychology of freedom. Now, this intense focus on discipline and privacy, it might sound a bit like paranoia, but it's not. It is a calculated, necessary defense of the one thing they value more than anything else. And this is where we get to the real core of it all, the psychological engine that drives every single one of these behaviors. Everything we've talked about so far, they're just the external symptoms of a very powerful internal mindset, a mindset built entirely around a unique definition of freedom.
So to really get inside this way of thinking, you have to ask yourself a critical question. When they make a big decision, when they choose a direction for their life, whose validation are they looking for? How many people do they actually need to impress?
The answer?
0. Absolutely none. And that is sign number 5. Their sense of self-worth is generated 100% internally. They have managed to completely disconnect their own identity from what other people think, from what society expects. And honestly, this detachment is their superpower. It's what frees them up to make clear, rational, long-term decisions without all that emotional noise of trying to keep up appearances. And right here, this is the final piece of the puzzle. This is the ultimate objective. Sign number 6, their goal is not status, but absolute freedom. Everything else we've discussed, the discipline, the privacy, the focus on preservation, it's all in service of this one goal. It's not about achieving status, it's about achieving freedom. The freedom to control your own time, the freedom to make your own choices without constraint, and maybe most importantly, the freedom from ever-present financial anxiety. That is the endgame.
All right, our briefing is coming to a close, so let's distill all of this down into a few core principles. Think of these as the final, most important entries for your own personal ledger. Section 5, your final ledger entry.
Here's the takeaway. Step 1. Start by redefining what wealth even means to you. It's not luxury, it's security. Step 2. Make preservation, protecting what you have, a higher priority than chasing performance. Step 3. This one's tough, but it's essential. Begin the work of detaching your self-worth from what other people think. And finally, step 4. Pursue freedom, absolute freedom above all else. That should be your true north.
I want you to always remember this. In any high-stakes game, the person making the most noise at the table is almost never the one holding the winning hand. In this world, the one who hides their hand usually holds the best cards. True power and true wealth comes from understanding the profound strategic advantage of silence and discretion.
So, I'll leave you with one final question to think about. We're all told we need to build a legacy, right? Something visible, a name on a building, a list of public achievements. But what if the greatest legacy you could possibly build is one that almost no one ever sees? What if it's a legacy not of monuments, but of freedom, of security, of choice, passed down silently through generations? That concludes this briefing.